This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 10, and it reads, For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well in teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also, salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Ayashar Barazal of the Indianapolis branch of the Great Millstone, coming back at you with another lesson that is edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. And this scripture, Obadiah 1 and 10, is referring to Esau Edom, the so-called white man, all right, whom you saw at the beginning of this video, who is also the wicked according to the scriptures, Malachi 1 and 4, all right. Many names for him as it relates to evil and everything that's contrary to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, contrary to the scriptures as well. And pretty much, he is the sword of the Lord, according to Psalms 17 and 13, for our transgressions against the covenant, being under the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 68. All right. And this nation of so-called white people, the biblical Edomites have literally put hell on Jake to this very day, and this is yet another installment of our camp series called For Thy Violence Against Thy Brother Jacob. And the topic I'm going into today is quite recent. All right. This is called the Mississippi Goon Squad. Got this article off Wikipedia, which has the most current information on it. It's fairly recent. And on Wikipedia it's called the Rankin County Torture Incident. Incident, depending on the definition that you use, is minor in some cases and extreme in another. Once I get through this article, you'll see that it's the most extreme case. And let me get that definition. This is an incident according to the Merriam-Webster's online dictionary. Go back to the dictionary. Okay, it's a noun. All right. And like I said, once I get into this, definition 2 will apply. An action likely to lead to grave consequences, especially in diplomatic matters. Okay, and what these 6 Edomite police officers did was just horrendous. But here again, once I get into this article, you're going to see that it follows the same playbook that Esau has since pretty much slavery ended. All right, and here is the article, and I'll put a link of this in the description box as well. It's called the Rankin County Torture Incident. All right, on January 24th, 2023, 6 white law enforcement officers, 5 from Rankin County Sheriff's Office and 1 from Richland Police Department, tortured 2 black men or Israelites, okay, Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker, at a home in Braxton, Mississippi. Police were called to the home by a white neighbor who reported that Jenkins and Parker had entered the home with a white woman. And, here words are different. They went into the home with her, you know. So obviously they had to know. They had to know the person. It didn't say that they went into the home of a white person. Okay. All right. And this is the same playbook. All Esau has to do is to make one phone call. All right. And that it easily means a life or death situation for Jake. We've seen that throughout history. The only difference in this case and in past cases, the police officers would get you arrested, take you to jail, all right, and then lo and behold, a mob overtakes the jail. That's in every situation. A white mob overtakes the jail. Jake is brought out, brutally beaten, murdered, hanged, mutilated, so on and so forth. Well, in this case, when the police came, they just went to the home and didn't bother with taking Jake to jail. They start doing the brutality right on site, as we're going to see here. Okay, continuing on with the article, the 6 officers who referred to themselves as the Goon Squad entered the house without warrant, then proceeded to torture Jenkins and Parker over the course of the next hour and a half. The torture included Jenkins being shot in the mouth by Hunter Elwood, shattering his jaw, Parker being sexually assaulted by Daniel Opdyke, and threats of rape. I mean, man, you know, this is Esau all day long. You know, that goes right hand in hand with the opening scripture, Obadiah 1:10. You know, he's a natural born a sodomite. That was pretty much old school buck breaking. We did a video on that in the same series not too long ago. All right. Says that 6 officers were charged in both state and federal court and pleaded guilty to all charges against them. All right, which the evidence had to be overwhelming for that to happen. Just a little information on this. This happened in Braxton, Mississippi, in the U.S. January 24th, 2023. So just last year. Attack, police brutality, torture, shooting, home invasion, sexual assault, hate crime. Again, the victims were Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker. The perpetrators, these are the names of the 6 officers whom you also saw at the beginning of this video. All right. The motive, control, sadism, racism. The verdict, pled guilty. And, you can get the rest of this information on your own. These are the sentences that each one of them received. Okay. And I'm going to go into... for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go into the background and the torture of Jenkins and Parker, and the rest you can read at your own leisure. All right, going into the background, it says 5 Rankin County Sheriff's deputies and a Richland police officer who referred to themselves as the Goon Squad were involved. The 5 deputies were identified as Chief Investigator Brett McAlpin, Patrol Deputy Hunter Elwood, Lieutenant Jeffrey Middleton, Narcotics Investigator Christian Dedham, and Patrol Deputy Daniel Opdyke. The Richland officer was Narcotics Investigator Josh Harshfield, who was off duty at the time of the home invasion. So yeah, this is they had something planned. He's off duty. They called him up. Hey, buddy, we're about to take out these 2 N words. Come on, jump in on the fun. All right. Since 2019, the deputies have been involved with 4 violent encounters with black men in Rankin County. They killed 2 and injured 2 others. All right. In 2019, Elwood and Dedman were involved in the fatal shooting of Pierre Woods, who police said pointed a gun at them. That's always the excuse. Drop the gun when they never have one. Okay. Who police said pointed a gun at them, though a complaint claimed he had dropped it by the time he was shot. In 2021, Elwood and another deputy were involved in the fatal arrest of Damian Cameron, who was tased multiple times, later becoming unresponsive and dying. The Mississippi Chief Medical Examiner wrote that Cameron's manner of death was undetermined. But 3 pathologists contacted by the New York Times and the Mississippi Today said Cameron's death should have been ruled a homicide. See, and they're all in it together. One thing we've learned about this series, For Thy Violence Against Thy Brother Jacob, Every faction of government is complicit in the death of Jake, from the time of the police encounter to the ambulance to the coroner. You know, uh, yeah, whichever faction of government puts their hands on it. They are complicit with the death of Jake. All right, he just lied here. Um, he said that the manner of death was undetermined. Yeah, he played right along with them. So nothing would happen to him. All those guys are friends. When the work day is over. You know, burning, wearing hoods and sheets. You know, and that's the thing. They don't have to do it so so flagrantly today. But hey, you can't see what's in the mind, and that mindset, is evident of Esau Edom. He kills, steals, and destroys. The scripture said there's none good when it comes to them. All right. Um, okay, getting back to the article. Um, Pick up where I left off. The Mississippi, which is a state examiner, chief medical examiner, wrote that Cameron's manner of death was undetermined, but 3 pathologists contacted by the New York Times and Mississippi Today said Cameron's death should have been ruled a homicide. A grand jury declined to press charges. See, there we go. Psalms 73 and 5. Okay? They are not in trouble as other men. All right? Let me go ahead and grab that and come back. Book of Psalms 73 and 5. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. That's because, the wicked is in control, according to Job 9:24. Okay? The earth has been given into his hands. All right? He controls everything, beginning with the top nation, Amalek, your so-called Jewish people. All right? They're in control of it all. All right? And the stuff that they do, they pretty much get a slap on the hand and walk away. But, these guys got some hefty sentences. I mean, that judgment caught up with them. All right? This wasn't just the first case. All right? And it says, because that doesn't happen to them, it says, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. Okay? Because they don't get in trouble. They had a whole bunch of incidents before this one. What happened in Braxton, Mississippi. All right? Yeah, this is back that up with that judgment. So that judgment finally came. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 8, beginning at verse 11. And it reads, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. And that's exactly what happened. They were kept getting away, with prior murders. Okay. Then they, finally do this. All right. Verse 12. Though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, which fear before him. All right, just because they think they're getting away, that judgment is going to come, and it's not going to be nice. All right, I don't know if these guys were put in general population or not, or probably got federal census, but like it says, they were charged both federal and state. Okay, so you can get that information from the article and exactly where they went. All right, that's if they disclose that information. All right, but yeah, it says, I know that it should be well with them that fear Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, which fear before him. And that's talking about your elect right now, the elect of the nation of Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, because we're going to be doing our very best to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, and do this work, and have the faith. Doing our due diligence to make the calling of our election sure. All right, that's what we do. Those are the ones that fear Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, verse 13. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not before Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay, he feareth not. Now, this goes for the 2/3 of Jake that are wicked and have to be destroyed, according to Zechariah chapter 13 and 8. But hey, this really hits with Esau Edom, you know, where Psalms 10 says the Most High is not at all in his thoughts. You know, he's the one who says there is no God. You know, but yeah, it shall not be well with them. You know, and there's going to be that judgment. All right, let me get back to that article. All right, it says a grand jury declined to press charges. Both Woods and Cameron's families had pending lawsuits against the sheriff's office at the time of the break-in. So, they since nothing happened to them, they were going to continue. All right. Says the New York Times and Mississippi Today investigated a number of brutality accusations against the Rankin County Sheriff's Office since 2004, verifying 17 of them involving 22 victims, with 20 deputies present at one or more incidents. Wow. Accusations against the department including ramming a stick down a man's throat until he vomited blood, choking a man with a lamp cord and waterboarding him, jabbing an off-duty sheriff's deputy for a neighboring county in a buttocks with a flashlight, testing new tasers by shocking a man in the head and genitals, using a blowtorch to melt a nutcracker handle onto a man's bare leg before choking him with a belt and dragging a blowtorch flame across the suspect's feet. So, these are some savage beasts, the so-called white man. This is his nature. All right. Several people reported being stunned, having guns put in their mouths, waterboarded, and being told to move out of the county. The Goon Squad also made commemorative coins about the squad, one reading Lieutenant Middleton's Goon Squad. However, federal prosecutors claimed that McAlpin was the Goon Squad's actual leader. 5 claimed the deputies destroyed food in their kitchens, including smashing a man's face into a cake and pouring milk into a man's dinner. Every black accuser claimed the deputies referred to them with racial slurs. We know what that was. All right. Following the arrest of the Goon Squad, Sheriff Brian Bailey stated he was shocked to learn of the horrendous crimes committed by the deputies. I believe he knew about it. you know, that they all do. Now he's just covering his tracks. All right. Says the New York Times report found that over a dozen people had confronted Bailey and the command staff about the deputies, including a sheriff's deputy for a neighboring county who said Bailey called him a dirty cop when he notified Bailey of the misconduct. See, there you go. All right. Let's get to the torture of Jenkins. Close that background. All right. And it says police were called after a report that Jenkins and Parker entered a home with a white woman, an Edomite. The homeowner, Christy Wally, was a childhood friend of Parker who had helped care for her since she became paralyzed at the age of 15 years. Wow. At the time of the incident, she was at the hospital. It was reported that McAlpin, who was described by the victim's lawyer as the highest man in charge, received the call and texted the other officers. Okay? So nothing ever went out, officially. He texted them instead of using the radio. So this is very well orchestrated. and having that name, the Goon Squad, they all knew each other, and this is routine stuff, especially in Mississippi, which just pretty much abolished slavery in 2013. And that's just 11 years ago, and I'll get that information here shortly. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and grab it now, and I'll come back to the article. All right, there we go. It says Mississippi officially abolished slavery on February 7th, 2013. Wow. Okay. Almost 2 years ago, they just did it. When the state's ratification of the 13th Amendment was legally recorded, the amendment had been ratified by Mississippi in 1995. Okay. That 13th Amendment, you know, went through Congress January 1st, 1863. All right. And Texas, ratified it June 19th. I want to say, no, that was the Emancipation Proclamation. Salakia, that was the Emancipation Proclamation. Yeah, 1865. 1865, there it is. That right there in front of me. Yep, 1865. So, yeah. Texas, it was, passed through Congress January 1st, 1863. And it was Texas, who finally, ratified it June 19th, 1865. All right. 2 years later, which, a lot of Jake doesn't understand that. They want to celebrate that Juneteenth. Emancipation was pretty much the transfer of ownership, said slavery was abolished unless you become a felon. So it took away the ability for private slave ownership and put it in the hands of the federal government. This is why their hands are in every situation that goes on when it comes to the incarceration and or death of Jake. All right. And Jake doesn't know this history, yet continues to beg the same people to remedy them of the problem that they've caused. You will not be getting reparations from the United States. Look up House Bill number 4321, where it pretty much says, any state that brings forth legislation talking about bailouts, i.e., reparations, they're going to deny you federal aid. So let's say if Louisiana put it forth, okay, which we know definitely they won't. Louisiana put such legislation forth, and they have another situation like Hurricane Katrina, the federal government won't be giving them aid. Yeah, once again, that's House Resolution 4321. All right. And it says, going back to this piece here that I searched up, Mississippi officially abolished slavery on February 7th, 2013, when the state's ratification of the 13th Amendment was legally recorded. The amendment had been ratified by Mississippi in 1995, but the state failed to send the required documentation to the Federal Register at the time. So that was on purpose. They really never did want to get rid of slavery. Okay. And then, here it says, here's more information on the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment was adopted after 3/4 of the 36 states at the time voted in favor of it. Okay. So, yeah, you can, get more information on that. Let's go back to the article under the all right. It says beginning of the second paragraph, says the 6 officers broke down the front door without a search warrant before restraining Jenkins and Parker. The officers referred to the men with racial slurs and told them to go back to Jackson or their side of the Pearl River. The deputies then beat and tased the men. After deputies found a dildo in the home, Opdyke forced it into Parker's mouth and attempted to do the same to Jenkins. Dedman threatened to rape the men and move to Jenkins' backside, but stopped when he noticed Jenkins had defecated on himself. Elwood held the two men down while Dedman poured milk, alcohol, chocolate syrup, and cooking oil on them. And these are just some savages, man. They're going to have to pay for this too. All right. Elwood also threw eggs at the men. The deputies then had the two men shower to hide any evidence of abuse, with Hartfield guarding the door so they would not escape. Police beat the two men with a wood plank and sword. Dedman fired several shots in the yard. Lastly, Edwards placed his gun in Jenkins' mouth and fired, but the gun clicked. He racked the slide and the gun fired. The bullet lacerated Jenkins' tongue and shattered his neck and jaw. The deputies planted a gun and methamphetamine in the home and accused Jenkins of trying to shoot at officers. They also stole a hard drive from the home security system and threw it into the river. Man, that's Esau for you. That's Esau for you. But hey, he's gonna have to pay for it. And then that judgment, has already started. This is the book of Ezekiel. 35, verse 5 and 6. And if you start at the top, it's talking about Mount Seir. Mount Seir is the original home of Esau, Edom, literally back in those days. And, spiritually, it's wherever Esau resides today and controls today. So, all right. It says Ezekiel 35, verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Salakia. Verse 6. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh our power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So the fact that you don't like, you don't have a problem with killing, mutilating, destroying Jake's lives, the same thing's gonna happen to you, but in righteousness, no. It won't be the savage, bestiality, sodomite type of stuff that you like to do. You get off on doing, but yeah, you will definitely receive a healthy dose of the punishment that you gave out, but according to righteousness. All right, this is Revelation chapter 18, beginning at verse 5. All right, and it reads, for her sins have reached unto heaven. It's talking about the sins of Babylon the Great, that is led by Esau, Edom, okay, the so-called white man, with the small hatters, the 1948ers being at the head of that. We can see that now with AIPAC, and the people who you can't talk about. All right. It's always when you do call them out, it's always anti-Sem. When I've proven in several videos, there's a whole bunch of Shemitic families, all right, under Shem. And the Hebrews began with Eber, all right. Revelation 18 and 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh Bashem Yahushai have remembered her iniquities. And it goes on, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, and the cup which ye have filled, fill to her double. So everything you've done to us in history, everything that's being exposed. As the scriptures say, I've made Esau bare and have uncovered all of his secret places. Everything that you've done is coming forth, you know, and that's why you're mad. You can't handle your own history. All right. What you did to us is going to be returned to you twice as hard and twice as long. And what did you do to us? You had us in captivity, and you murdered us. You know, just pure murder. No motive. Just because you could. But our turn is next. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, beginning at verse 9, and it reads, "If any man have an ear, let him hear." Verse 10, and that means, for any man have understanding, let him understand, okay? Verse 10, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints." And we're waiting on it. We are waiting on it. I swear, and the one, especially you ones that come against the Hebrew Israelites that are teaching the true doctrine, such as GMS, and those who have the same doctrine. Yeah, yeah, we're waiting patiently, hoping for that spiritual power to wreak havoc on Esau, Edom. Enough is enough. That's the way we feel. But we know it's all in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's hand, in his timing. But yeah, we hasten a day to bring this recompense upon you. All right? And those saints are the Israelites. Okay? According to Psalms 50 and 5 and Psalms 148 and 14. All right? Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? A bloodline. Nothing you can convert to. All right? Nothing at all. So, we hasten a day to return, your iniquities upon your own head. Because the Lord said he's going to do that by the hand of his people. Okay? Israel. All right? Let me get that. This is Ezekiel. No, not Ezekiel. This is Joel. I think that's the one that I want. Chapter 3. Okay. Yeah, this will work too. This was fine too. It says Egypt, and we know Egypt to mean the house of bondage, which is currently Babylon the Great, okay, aka America, also called spiritual Sodom in Egypt. And we know why it's called Sodom. You're the only nation of people pushing that Skittles nation shit across the world. All right. It says Egypt shall be a desolation, a wasteland, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. The lands where you are, and of course also you, okay? Because before they were lands, they were a people before they were a place, okay? All right. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. Yeah. Shed innocent blood. All the time. And Judah can, literally mean the tribe of Judah, or the southern kingdom of Israel, which is Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. Judah being the so-called Negroes, Levi being the so-called Haitians, and Benjamin being the so-called West Indians, or Jamaicans, okay? And it says, but Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. That's, when, Yahweh Shai comes back and saves his people. You know, Judah dwelling forever in Jerusalem from generation to generation. That's the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, coming back as one nation. All right. We're going to have the laws on our inward parts. Going to have those bodies of immortality, when the corruptible becomes incorruptible. All right. And we're going to have that spiritual power. The gods, we will be those gods again. As the scriptures say in Psalms 82 and 6, ye are gods. All right. Roughly paraphrasing. So we're going to be those gods again. All right. Verse 21, it says, for I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwelleth in Zion. All right. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai dwelleth in Zion. And how is he going to cleanse the blood? This is the book of Numbers 35 and 33. All right. And it reads, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. And our blood has certainly defiled this land. All right. Certainly. From the time we were over here until this very moment. Okay. Continuing on. And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Who shed our blood the most? I mean, every nation put their hands on us. But Esau Edom is the absolute worst. As you've seen in this in this article. And that's just one instance. Okay. So yeah, that judgment is about to come back on you. All right. This is Lamentations. Chapter 4, verses 21 and 22. It says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee, and that cup is judgment. All right. Thou shalt be drunken, and thou shalt make thyself naked. You're going to be exposed. That's happening right now, through these video epistles on the highways and byways. Okay. 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're being exposed. That's why you get ready to come down with that great wrath, according to Revelation 12 and 12. Everybody knows who you are and know who you aren't. All right. Verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. Okay. That's the nation of Israel, coming towards the end of our punishment here in Babylon the Great. All right. It says, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And that is happening. There's no way around it. No way around it. You're being exposed, and now you're about to meet your fate. All right. I'm going to close out with this one. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30 and verse 7. And it reads, and Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies. You can get those curses in Deuteronomy 28:68, and then throughout the scriptures. But that's where you start. Okay, Deuteronomy 28 and 15, verse 15 through 68. That's the starting point. All right. It says, once again, starting at the top, Deuteronomy 30 and 7. And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Okay? Who hated us? Huh? Who hated us? Well, let's go see. Those who made that tumult. In Psalms 83, begin in verse 1. A song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Hold not thy peace and be not still, O Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. That's a war cry. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Okay, who hates him? You're about to find out. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. Who is that? The nation of Israel. And consulted against thy hidden ones, those that have been scattered, and look like the other nations. Okay, and yeah, just a note on here. If you notice, who was that? The directors and all of the board members of that DNA testing place, 23andMe, have all resigned. Yeah, they all resigned. That's because they were probably into that biological warfare. Jake, instead of listening to the prophets on the streets, highways and byways, who were teaching the correct doctrine, first and foremost, the great millstone, men of the great millstone, you rather choose to learn from Esau Edom, when he was just collecting your samples for possibly biological warfare. All right. Verse 4, it says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Okay. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent, and they are confederate against thee. So all of these nations coming up here, agreed together to make sure we never remembered who we were. Okay. The tabernacles of Edom, the so-called white man. Okay. And of the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, Moab, you got your, that's your Chinese, and the Hagarenes, some Africans, Hamites, Slakia, Gabal, I think those are more Hamites, and Ammon, that's your Japanese, and Amalek, okay, your so-called Jewish people today. The same ones who not only financed the transatlantic slave trade, but they own the ships and currently own America. 80-90% of Congress, has dual citizenship with them. All right. So yeah, those are the ones who hate the Lord and also hate us. All right. But that all of your nations are going to get it back, but Esau, Edom, you're going to get the worst, because according to the Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary, which backs up the book of James, chapter 2 and 13, Edom is the only nation of people that will not receive mercy. Okay, you will not receive mercy. Point blank. Period. You will not receive it for the violence you've done against Judah. All right. Like that said, you're going to go, he that led into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killed with the sword must be killed with the sword. All right. But the thing is, you won't be coming back, when this is all said and done. Let's go back to the original chapter, and I'll close out with this one. This is the book of Obadiah 1 and 18. And it reads, and the house of Jacob, that's the southern kingdom of Israel, shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph, the northern kingdom of Israel, a flame. All right. So fire and a flame, same thing. That means they're in unison. Okay. All right. And the house of Esau for stubble. You're going to be destroyed. Stubble. Okay. And they shall kindle in them and devour them. And there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. For Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, have spoken it. All right. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying to the elect body of the nation of Israel. Once again, that you enjoy our series for thy violence against thy brother Jacob. Hopefully it's edifying to you. And once again, we're going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teaching us this 100% truth. Salutations to them and my fellow Akim who labor in this truth week in and week out on the highways and byways. Also salutations to the hopeful elect of the scattered 12 tribes of Israel, scattered to the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, also known as your Israelite foreigners, and your so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. To you, I say Shalom, Kwam Yasharala. We got next. Wa Abad Babal. Shalom.